You are, Bradley, you were going to say something before we took a break. You wanted to say something about, what was it?
Well, about the Dome of the Rock being
All right.
star.
Yeah, let me get the picture back up so you can have something to stare at.
Well, what I was going to say was, you talked about the 8-pointed star as connections to Islam. There's an additional element. You look, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the passage in Isaiah, how thou fall from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. You've probably heard at some point that it's the Halel, it's a reference to Venus. Well, Venus, its symbols included an 8-pointed star, the rosette, which is that little thing you circled, and the lion.
Yeah.
So,
right.
and of course, the passage about Lucifer, son of the morning, he goes on to exalt his throne above the stars of God. So you've got an additional and even more ancient dynamic at play here, where you have all those symbols converging on Temple Mount of the Man of Sin.
Yeah, and his theology literally is the theology of metempsychosis, which means that it's a transmigration of the soul. When you die, you pass the orbs, planets, and through a series of transformations, you ascend. So when it says, I will ascend above the stars of God, I'll exalt my throne above the Most High, I'll be like the Most High, that's exactly what the theology there is. He is quite literally God manifest, according to his own Alawite theology. And you can be too, if you follow him. That's just the ancient trick, isn't it? Right there in the beginning. Come, you'll be like God. No consequences here.
And remember, the stars are also representative of the angels.
Amen.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's trying to place himself over the angels.
Exactly. And they have been given dominion and power and names, and with name comes authority and an office and a station, and exalting himself above the prince of the host. And by him, the host was trampled down, cast down to the earth. So, according to the Alawite theology, they believe we came from stars.
Correct.
And since we came from stars, we return to the stars, and so the stars are deified souls of humans. And so you will literally, we skip forward and we look at Revelation, and we look at some of the passages of the prophets mentioned, where the stars fall from heaven. The testimony of Enoch is that when that occurs, that people will take them as gods. So you have literally, imagine stars falling from heaven that everyone sees, and then the fallen ones from above being cast down while there's a battle in heaven, according to Revelation. And it says they will worship the host of heaven, the armies of heaven, the fallen ones that are in the heavens even now, in the fifth heavens and second heavens and above. So one of them is the Satanel or the adversary of El, Satan later, in the scriptures. And his messengers, is what Revelation says, will be cast down, and they will agree. Check this out. They will agree, these beings, you will see, will agree to give him power, the beast, power to continue for 42 months. He's given power to continue. That means he's already doing before they arrive. So the battle in heaven ensues. Michael overcomes the dragon and all of his messengers.
They have 2 wings.
2 wings.
Maybe more, but at least 2.
What Jeremiah would call in Jeremiah 8, the host of heaven that men will worship. And the dragon, of course, deceives the whole world and gives the beast, al-Wahish in Arabic, the lion to the north, power to continue doing what he's already been doing for 42 more months. What Jeremiah would call in Jeremiah 8, the host of heaven that men will worship. And the dragon, of course, deceives the whole world and gives the beast, al-Wahish in Arabic, the lion to the north, power to continue doing what he's already been doing for 42 more months. So,
in Isaiah 14:12, if you take an NIV study Bible, they've taken Lucifer's name out and put morning star in. They cross-reference in the study Bible to Revelation 2, talks about the morning star.
And it's a perversion.
And they cross-reference that to Revelation 22, where Jesus says, I am the bright morning star.
And it's a complete and total perversion.
And if you do their study notes and you look at it in reverse, Isaiah 14:12 in the NIV Study Bible is saying that Jesus is the one cast out of heaven.
Right.
I got a problem with that Bible.
That's right. And not only that, it's a superimposition over Hallel ben Shakar in Hebrew, which is the son of the crescent horns to the north, the shining one, which is it's the Assyrian. Isaiah 14 is about the Assyrian king of Babylon to the north. And they've done a little hocus pocus abracadabra here with the wordplay and made it the good guy. And, yeah. This was President Assad receiving a delegation of noble Quran preachers. And he's here front and center. And these were from all the provinces of Syria, literally dictating how to teach and bending it, of course, toward his narrative.
Look how many females are there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Completely against them.
Sure, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, clearly breaking the molds. There's another picture of him. These are Palestinian flags here, and him and the Dome of the Rock in the back. And this kind of pictures are on billboards and state-sponsored media all over the place. This was a vision that a lady had that I met, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, 14 years ago, 12, maybe 13, I'm not sure. She was told to get up and draw the son of perdition. She had never studied Daniel, never studied prophecy, and didn't even really want to. But she was told to draw, and that's what she drew. And then she had someone else do this, of what the Antichrist would look like. She was told, her name was Cindy Pillow, and I've lost touch with her. We talked on via email or maybe on the phone or something once, and she explained what she was sending me. She sent me that. I've never met her in person, but that's what she sent. That was her little rough sketch, and then she had this caricature made by someone else.
What year was that done?
I want to say maybe 13 years ago. I don't really remember.
It was probably about 10.
Right, yeah, probably about 13 years ago. Well, I've been sharing this message about Assad, the Assyrian king of the north and Antichrist and all that since late 96, 97. Some people have chimed in on Facebook as early as 98 that heard me present this message, the same passages we've been talking about tonight at that time, long before he ever even took office. When his father died, I got calls from a handful of people that were just blown away by what they were seeing because they had heard it announced beforehand. I'm thankful for the father for that. But, well, Bradley, you were going to say something? Or no, Rich, yeah, you were, yeah.
So that would put it around 2005, 2006, she drew that?
Don't hold me to it. I honestly can't remember. I looked for the file metadata, but all I had was the last time it was modified, and it was 2009 was when it was modified. But I had it long before that. You've seen that caricature on the blog before, and we shut the blog down in 2009 or
The only reason I ask is because that's when Syria's influence in Iraq skyrocketed and our body counts went up as soldiers. If you recall, well, me and Bradley was just talking about the last time I was here, we were discussing, fighting some of them Syrians.
They're tough fighters, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what,
They give you good strength.
they're a lot more dedicated to the faith than we are sometimes.
That's something, isn't it?
That's the reality. They're much more dedicated to their faith than we are.
Yep.
That's an unfortunate reality.
It is unfortunate. Next slide here this is Hezbollah in the north, where the Father brings destruction. Look, this is so ingrained in their ideology. This is a top-notch little production here. These are Hezbollah soldiers. Hezbollah means the army of Allah, or the party of Allah, and they are Shias, supported by Iran. So you've got Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Iran, all Shia. That's the leopard watching over the cities of Israel today, threatening them, which will dash them to pieces.
Duly elected, by the way.
Absolutely, yeah, they're totally legit now. Hezbollah's got, they're controlling the shots there in Lebanon. Bashar Assad's right arm, of course, in Lebanon as they head south. There's some more of those pictures. We've seen that one already. This is Assad's head with the former president Ahmadinejad. I snagged this screenshot a long time ago off of a video from CBS News. and that's Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah. And this is, look what they're nested in between. Those are the Shia imams. Hussein and all the Shia imams, descendants of Ali, and him right in the middle. The Messiah, the son of David and son of man, said, "Wherefore if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, do not go forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not." What you're looking at here is the large mosque, the Grand Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, Syria. That's a picture of Hugo Chavez meeting with Assad in the past. And they all kind of get the basic tour. You get to go and you get to see the Grand Umayyad Mosque, which is houses John the Baptist, and you get to see their little guided tour into their shrines and perverting the Pauline epistles. I've got pictures of him talking about Paul and the road to Damascus and all this stuff. And you get this bent narrative as all the dignitaries stream in. And it's an old city. Damascus is, I guess, the oldest continually inhabited city. And this is the minaret of Jesus, Madhanat Isa, located on the southeast corner over here of this shrine. And it is here that the Islamic version of Jesus will come and return. So you've got a false narrative. Messiah warned us and said many false Christs will appear, and I think he's honing in on one specifically here, one that comes in the desert, in the secret chambers, and says, don't believe him, for as you know, lightning or an illuminating from the east is visible in the west, so shall be the coming of the Son of Man. He doesn't just pop up in the desert and stop Damascus from being destroyed, like the new deceptive Netflix series that came out called Messiah, which depicts the Messiah as Arab, who randomly shows up in the desert to stop the destruction of Damascus, which Isaiah just said plainly will be destroyed. So there's this false narrative here going on, prepping people to receive the false Messiah. And he comes to the desert in Damascus to stop the destruction of Damascus. And within moments in the movie, Israel is portrayed as the bad guy and the aggressor. And so completely perverted. The Umayyad Mosque, known as the Great Mosque of Damascus, is one of the largest and oldest mosques in the world. The mosque is also believed by Muslims to be the place where Jesus, Isa, will return in the end of days. This is a false one. And the mausoleum containing the tomb of Saladin, that's right, stands in a small garden adjoining the north wall of the mosque. So this is the southeast corner over here. And then southwest, and then over here on the opposite side, adjoining the wall, is the tomb of Saladin, who was a Muslim conqueror, a real scrapper, to be sure. Now, a lion will spring from Bashan. We talked about Bashan and Dan, which is one of the tribes that constantly led Israel into idolatry and with Syria and to the north. Right up here in the Golan Heights area. So check out this article in 2008. It's actually like verbatim what's going to happen. Assad's secret scam, Golan springboard for greater Syria. The Golan Heights is this mountain range right here between, can you see the mouse moving? Right there, between Syria, Lebanon's over here. I will bring disaster from the north, the Father said, even a great destruction. So over here through Golan, the strategic mountain range, into Ephraim down here into Samaria and all the way down into Judea, which is where Messiah came from. And it says in the Torah that his tribe was located at the east of the tabernacle, and it says comma, no comma. There's no comma in Hebrew, but at the rising of the sun.
I got that article sitting right here in front of me.
Fire away, bud. Read loud.
Springboard for Greater Syria. What I was going to say was it was written, and the context of that article was they're talking about, how do you pronounce the guy's name? Ehud Olmert.
Ehud Olmert,
because they were alleging that he was, at the time of this article, he was involved in secret negotiations with with Assad about returning the Golden Heights to him.
Okay.
And his whole thing is critiquing.
Was he prime minister at the time?
I suppose so, yeah.
Right.
They were critiquing what he was allegedly involved in, and they said he is actually playing with a highly contagious fireball. And that was the whole reason, because they were alleging that Assad getting the Golan
Right.
about him
Right.
establishing Greater Syria.
This mountain range is a natural mountain. It's right here. Golden Heights, Mount Hermon is there. Messiah was at the base of Mount Hermon when he said the gates of hell will not prevail. Indeed, they will not. And at the base there, there's literally a rock, Caesarea Philippi, called today the gates of hell, still. And so it's quite literal. And what do you think he's thinking about? You think he knew about these prophecies?
I don't have any clue.
And so in his mind, clearly it's related to this invasion here, and that it will not prevail. It can't prevail. Can anything prevail that the Father has not ordained? No, it can't.
This is one question we ask.
Well, Asma's been dubbed the First Lady of Hell. A lot of articles get on that little nickname.
Bashar Assad's wife, Asma, was called the First Lady of Hell because of some of what they're doing to their country. It's disgusting wickedness, just obliterating them. Now, I'll be honest with you.
This is his job. He has to present it in his report.
As hard as it is to watch Syria, I also saw them rally in tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands for death to Israel.
This is very clear.
So I'm not going to say it's unjust. Man reaps what he sows. As tough as that is to say. And when we see Damascus, you're going to have your wits about you here, folks, because you're going to see a major destruction. And your inclination, which is oftentimes self-preservation, will be to just kind of go with whatever's going to cause the least amount of destruction. That's falling right into his trap. That's being the son of destruction. That's what he bets on. He banks on your willingness to capitulate and abandon your core values if he can dish out enough destruction. And proof is in the pudding, it's working. Because he has amassed the largest army the world has ever seen, commitments from North Korea, China, Iran, a whole host of Arab nations, and every single family out of the north regarding his goal and cause, to divide the land for his own gain.
Your father could teach a master class in politics of the Middle East.
Yeah.
Tell me what you learned from him. This man who dominated Syrian life.
Normally, like any son, you learn the principles. This is first.
The Israelis say, and the Americans say, Israel will never give up Jerusalem. Israel will never allow the right of return. Israel will never completely go back to the 67 borders. Is peace impossible?
It is.
When he says he will divide the land for his own gain in Daniel chapter 11, it's talking about this Golan 1967 borders divisions. Go ahead, Bradley. I can
Are you
see.
going to go more into that, into the divided land for gain?
Go ahead.
I got two quotes.
Please.
I mentioned to you. Okay.
Thank you
Check
for
this
doing
out.
that.
This is from a book by, some news from Oxford. It says, on first entering Syria, the observant traveler will probably be startled to go through passport control and notice a military map of Syria on the wall. For this map contains several anomalies. It shows the Golden Heights under Syrian control, though they have been occupied by Israel since 1967. Syria's boundaries with Lebanon and Jordan appear not as international borders, but as something called regional borders.
I couldn't see Syria apart from our neighboring countries and apart from the region in general. We cannot see the region separately from the rest of the world.
Israel does not even exist. Instead, there is a state called Palestine. And Palestine is separated from Syria by a line designated as a temporary border. Finally, the province of Hatay, a part of Turkey since 1939,
It's right up here.
included in Syria. And that's important because Jebel al-Aqra sits on
Jebel
the Syro-Turkish border.
Jebel Aqra is where is modern day Zaphon, or where north is, where his people came from. Up there where his grandfather, the beast, came from before they changed the name to the lion. So anyway, go ahead.
But it sits on that border
Right here.
between the Hatay province and Latakia. So
Yeah.
under this division, we put that mountain completely
In Syrian
within
territory.
Syria. And,
Right.
if you don't mind, one more quote I want
Go
to read
ahead.
to you, because this is the one I told you about earlier. This is from an article called The Greater Syrian Plan and the Palestinian Problem. It says, Assad has been a member in the Ba'ath Party dedicated to Arab unity for 30 years. We're talking about senior. It says, moreover, the fact that he rules in Damascus, the heartland of Arabism, makes him heir to a remorseless drive to reach out beyond Syria's national boundaries. His current unionist campaign is two-pronged. First, he sees Syria's two immediate neighbors, Lebanon and Jordan, as a natural extension of his territory, vital to his defense. This three-nation grouping is already a fait accompli, although in the low-profile Assad manner without fanfare. Assad now rules by proxy in Lebanon, while progressive integration with Jordan is well advanced. If the Palestinians ever recover a West Bank homeland, they will inevitably join his complex.
You hear that? And there is Psalms 83. The Assyrian has come to help the descendants of Lot in verse 8. He comes down from the north and views all that as his territory, like Sennacherib before him.
First of all, we support the Palestinians.
Yes.
Okay? What we support their rights, as I say, because we see Hamas represents the will of the Palestinian, and this is democracy.
So this is the ancient Assyrian map that this is the region Isaiah would have been familiar with, again to the north. And this is Assad's ambitions. Isn't that stunning? It is in every way a revival of the Assyrian kingdom of old. Pretty cool, huh?
Here is a dilemma in understanding you.
Yeah.
You are, as James Bennett said to many people, an enigma.
Yeah.
A very good New York Times reporter. They say, on the one hand, he's a dictator. On the other hand, he's not in control.
Yeah.
They say, on the one hand, he wants to reform. On the other hand, he's a captive
Yeah.
of his father's advisors.
Yeah.
The future of Al-Quds, Jerusalem, is never to be decided by a state nor by a president. The future of Al-Quds is only to be decided by its history and by the will of the honest to the Palestinian cause, which is ever to remain in the conscience of the Arab nation till the establishment of the Palestinian state with Al-Quds or Jerusalem as its capital. It's from Assad's quotes. It's a quote from him. And this here is a picture of the Palestinian flag. I believe this was done at the Damascus airport. What you're seeing here is Psalms 83, where the Assyrian comes to help the descendants of Lot remove Israel from being remembered anymore, like we read earlier. So look at here, there's Assad being on the banner, and this is the Palestinian flag down here at the bottom, the red and the green and the white and the black. Over here, these subtle little things. This is how ingrained his governance over the Holy Land is within their culture and their ideology. At this major amphitheater here, you can see a picture of, what's that right there? What flag is that? Palestinian flag right next to his head in front of the Syrian flag. Today here, this is our final slide. Al-Assad Arabic, formerly Al-Wahash, beast, is in his true element. Kindly ignore state-sponsored baby-kissing videos and barefoot luncheons with average Syrians. I saw the little horn whose appearance was larger than his associates and spoke pompous words, as we read in Daniel chapter 7 and verse 8. That sums up what I had to share with you guys right now. Oh yeah, I think we got this one more here. This is them in the war room. Remember, he destroys but not by his own power. This is the Russian war room in Syria. And this was an older picture, and recently, a few days ago, Putin, after we executed Soleimani, went down to meet with Bashar Assad in Syria, and they were in one of these rooms. I'm not sure if it was this one or a different one, but again, King of the North, Levant, King of Babylon, little horn, shall be mighty, but not by his own power, according to Daniel 8:23 and beyond. He gathers an international mob, including the kings of the East, even. The Assyrian son of destruction and his allies destroyed land and people, his land and people, according to Isaiah 14:20. And then verse 3, he attacks the mightiest nations, Israel and her allies abroad, of course. And recently he's become much more vocal about attacking the West. And if you look on the internet, you will see it's almost something embedded in their psyche. You will find when Soleimani was killed, the Iranian general, caused such a stir, it had everybody on the edge of their seats here for World War III. When he was killed by a U.S. missile strike, his daughter came out and made a video and lamented and cried out to Bashar Assad of Syria for rectification of her father's death. These are some hashtags, if you're on social media, that we use regularly and comment on regularly. I'll leave that up there in closing. And if you want to write a few of them down or whatnot.